And now, a word of faith with Bishop Barra. In the footsteps of Abraham.
In the footstep of Abraham, our greatest example of faith, because he was called alone. God did call Abraham alone. He had his wife, but he was alone. He had goods, he was rich, he had livestock, he had lands, but he was alone. Why? How can somebody that had everything in life be alone? Yes, apparently he had everything in life. But what you should know is that his life was incomplete, because what he wanted the most, a son, he did not have. It's like you. You might have many things in life, but if your dream is not there in you yet, in your life, you have a life of shame. In the days of Abraham, if a man had no children, especially a boy, a son, that man was considered ashamed. He was unable to have a family, to have a generation. And you know, if Abraham had died, Sarah had died without a son, right now I would not speak about him. I want you to understand, my friend, listen to me. I want you to understand that God is the one that will bring to you your dream, the life that you want. He called Abraham alone, 75 years old. He had a dream, and maybe you are called as a dreamer, because what you want the most, you do not have. But also, I want you to know that what God has for you is a way greater, bigger than what you want. Abraham wanted one son, but God gave him many children, many nations, because when God honors someone, he does honor in the right way. God knows how to honor the ones who hear his voice and obey him. Like this testimony I'm going to show to you now. She was living shame. Her husband, her family was living shame. She made her sacrifice. She sent her request to the promised land, and God did bless her life.
Obedience. Faith.
Was the door that made Abraham.
Courage. Sacrifice. Campaign of Israel at the Gate of Haran.
I come from a third-generation single mother, and that is something that my family suffered with. In one way, it was like I felt that my mother raised me on her own, therefore I didn't need anybody to help me raise my child. My mom was alone forever, always, and so if she could do it, I could do it. Of course, I was in some relationships when I was young, and I tried, but they were very unfruitful. They were very toxic. My grandmother was divorced. My mother was divorced, and I was alone. We lived a really bad life. My mother and I lived together with my daughter. We fought all the time. Our life was hell. We had no money to eat. We would eat samples at the grocery stores, or it was ramen noodle all the way. In Houston, we had no money to pay the electricity. 90 degrees, 100 degrees outside, and we were spending weeks without electricity at home. And that's where I found myself. Again, I didn't have steady work. We were really broken. We were broke financially. We didn't have electricity to have air conditioning in the middle of the summer. We would have to run a cable to the street light so we could have a fan in our house. It was the hardest thing I've ever had to do. First of all, I'm a little shy when it comes to speaking to people, and I had to walk up to people, just random people, asking them if they wanted to, to buy whatever, the popsicles I was selling. So that was me having to break through one of my walls. I soon learned that what I thought was me being strong by being alone was wrong. I learned that God wants us to be with somebody. He wants us to share our lives with one person, and that we are not meant to be alone. Within a year of me turning in the sacrifice at the altar, I was married in the same altar. We've been married for 3 years, and our marriage is insanely great. I never could have imagined that things could be this well. My husband and I, we don't fight. And we look at each other and we actually comment this. How is it possible that we never fight? Only God can do this. I was bitter. I was hurting. And I had no faith in men. But when I put my faith in God, He healed me. And He washed me. He built me up. And He brought me my gift. Another thing in the mysteries of God that is very intriguing is my husband and I opened a snow cone business together. We bought a shaved ice trailer. So out of this relationship that was born from me selling popsicles in the park, now we both together go and sell snow cones in parks and all kinds of, festivities. Besides that, we also opened up a trucking business. And where I thought that the snow cone business would really bless our lives, snow cone business money is crumbs compared to the money in trucking. And actually our first month of business, we invoiced $25,000. My experience with the Campaign of Israel was, first, hearing the voice of God. Second, following through with it. And third, just reaping the rewards of listening and being obedient to God. I am in a place in my life where I never thought I could be. And only God knows where He took me from. The Campaign of Israel works.
Campaign of Israel at the Gate of Heron.
What else shall I say? You are going to call us right now, request this envelope. You are going to receive the envelope and send it back by next week, so that we can take it inside of this luggage to the Holy Land, the Promised Land. Abraham left Haran. When God told him to leave, he obeyed the voice of God. And because he obeyed God's voice, God did bless his life, just as He blessed the life of Miss Angelica. He's going to bless your life. If you do not have time to request the envelope, take any envelope in your house. Write your prayer request. Send it to me. Put your sacrifice, your vow of sacrifice. Show to God like Abraham showed that you believed in Him. Maybe you say, what is sacrifice all about? How can I make sacrifice? I want you to watch this. How to do a sacrifice, how to do your campaign. You are going to be the next testimony.
Life is made of sacrifice. Every achievement in life comes with sacrifice. From getting a better position in your workplace, to establishing a career, to getting married. Sacrifices are even made when supporting your favorite team or artist.
So how much is a Super Bowl experience worth to you? How much would you pay for a ticket?
But just as everything in this world, a new life comes at a price. Abraham conquered a new life when he left everything behind in obedience to God's voice. He was fulfilled in all the areas of his life and became the model of faith to those who are eager for a change. Everything that is achieved in this world has an expiration date, but a new life that comes from God lasts forever.
At home, I have everything that I wanted, basically.
Successful, strong, happy, a great mother.
And actually our first month of business, we invoiced $25,000.
My family, we're now together. My finances, I don't have to go to others to borrow. In myself, I sing peace.
What would you do to change your life? Campaign of Israel, the starting point for a new life. How do you participate of the Campaign of Israel? First, make the decision of putting an end to your problems through faith. Second, write down on paper your prayer request, determining that God will make happen in your life everything you wrote down. Third, send your prayer request together with your vow of sacrifice. You can make a check or money order under the name of the Universal Church and mail it to 7075 Southwest Freeway, Houston, Texas 77074. For more information, you can call us at 1-888-691-2291.